with a summary. How do I get my dream job? So, I mean, I don't know what your dream job is. So if your dream job is to like design this beautiful building in New York City, this is probably not the session for you because I'm more focusing it in on accounting and finance. I mean, there probably are some tips that you could take, but I'm really focusing on accounting and finance. So in the Greenville area, we find, and really actually nationally, we find cost accountants, controllers, tax auditors, tax managers and audit managers, as well as SEC reporting accountants, just kind of a wide variety of professionals in accounting and finance. And some examples of area businesses include ABX, Floor, GE, Hubble, Kemet, and some of these are our clients, some of these are people we source from. But these are just some of the bigger companies that we do work with: ScanSource, AFL Telecommunications, Mitsubishi, Denny's, Advance America, Eaton, and Milliken. I've done some type of work with some of these companies as either clients or maybe some are hiring managers that have become my candidates for jobs. So it's just a nice mix of people. And as far as public accounting firms go, I wanted to mention some that I think you should keep in mind. Although I know Phyllis has her own CPA firm as well, but I think there are a lot of firms that you can go to and gain a variety of experience. I think Phyllis probably even sourced for some of these companies for her business. But if you're thinking about going the corporate route, maybe you might want to consider some of the larger firms such as KPMG, PwC, Ernst & Young, Elliott Davis, DeCosimo, Dixon Hughes and Goodman, and Cherry Becker. I think it used to be Cherry Becker and Holland. I think now it is Cherry Becker. So just kind of thinking about those, you guys have heard of these firms, right? You know these well. Probably some of you are targeting these, maybe have had internships in these firms, or
no internships.
Yeah, not yet. So I mean, it's something to think about as you're planning and preparing for your career. You can easily start out in public accounting or private industry. As far as public accounting goes, if you want to go in if you go to a smaller firm, you may be more pigeonholed. So you want to think about, some firms focus on nonprofit or governmental, and you may end up in those specific areas. And when I say pigeonholed, it's not a bad thing if that's the area that you want to go into, but it just if you're going for a corporate job, you may want to think about which firm you're going into and what areas you want to focus on. Some focus on healthcare, some focus more on manufacturing, some focus on governmental, so you want to be thinking about what direction am I going. And then private industry, you may start in, I started in private industry myself. I went straight into private industry. It's a good balance. If you're looking for a work-life balance, you have children at home, or maybe you have a lot of other priorities in your life that are more important than being there from 8 a.m. sometimes to 10 p.m. depending on, if it's the big four firms, sometimes you are working late nights. So it kind of depends on what your personal goals are and your career goals are, and kind of the combination of those. But as you're thinking about those, think about what direction you may want to go as far as what kind of job are you looking for in 5 to 10 years, because that will, what you're doing now will affect that next job. Like, why did you come into accounting? Were you wanting to make plenty of money? Were you wanting to be a controller or a CFO one day? Maybe you just wanted a stable career, which is completely available with this kind of field. Does anyone have a volunteer kind of what they want to be in 5 to 10 years, or volunteer answer?
Retired?
Yes. I know, me too. I'm not there yet at all, but
actually, I do have a dream job, and it is not what I do every day.
Yeah.
Yes. My dream job would be to be a stats runner for the Atlanta Braves. And so that's kind of why I do what I do now, because my goal is to make as much money as I can right now so I can go do what it is that I really want to do, and that's keep stats for a baseball team.
That's awesome.
Amazing. Love that.
Would you be interested in volunteering?
That's a great job.
Kind of maybe something you would be okay with or interested in doing? Because I know there are so many options right now, it's probably overwhelming, but does anyone have a?
It's so overwhelming.
Yes, okay. But when you first got into it,
I wanted to be a controller for the longest time.
Okay, so that might still be out there for you, something you might want to do. Okay, yeah. Awesome. You're my audience, there you are. Because I mean, I do this all day long, so I like to talk about how to get there. And I also enjoy helping people with more local, I was talking to her, there's more financial accounting manager jobs you can get on the local may not be with these huge corporations where that is so intimidating, but you can start out in various ways. If you know where you want to go, you can start out so much easier getting to those places. So I'm just going to pull up this job description right here. If you guys will help me look at that. So this is TMX Finance. They're in Savannah. I try to get some local things. I do have a local job on that on the very last page. But this is a role of a very large corporation. They're publicly traded. They're in a growth mode, and they need a CFO. We actually have assisted them in sourcing one of these before. We haven't been doing this one, but we have before. They are looking for a CPA. If you go to the second page, I'm just going to focus more on what they're looking for.
Is this a current job that you have?
Yeah,
Well, I talked to you about it afterwards.
but
not for me.
Contact there.
Not for me.
But we have, like I said, I'm not really working it right now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't probably put some out that I am working, but because that's confidential usually. But I do have a contact there. If you know somebody,
I do. I do.
Yeah, I'd be glad to talk to you afterwards.
Okay. Yeah.
Strike that from the record, please.
That's networking.
Yes. So if you look here, if you're going to be a CFO, really pay attention to this. CPA required. That means there's no chance you're getting in the door. You know, because when they call me, if I don't send them a CPA, just forget I'm not getting a fee. Now, you know, there's the off chance that somebody's brother and best friend and whoever dresses nice. But most of the time, this is not the case. And so, public accounting Big Four, and I'll tell you this, they want Big Four. If you want to be a CFO, you gotta go Big Four. If you want this kind of CFO job. But it says Big 10 is a minimum. So if you say you were like, I'm not really going for that route, so I'll just go to like a mid-sized firm and get a variety of experience and then figure out where I want to go, that might also be a good route to go, and then you would still be eligible for this job and potentially have the chance. But if you really want to knock it out of the park, you're going to have Big Four experience. 10 years minimum, so you've got to be thinking, it's probably, most CFO jobs that I work, especially when this big, usually you're looking at 10 years, and when it says 10 years plus, they want 15. I mean, more than likely, unless you are a superstar. And if you're a superstar, you have great references, and you know, you have bosses pushing you along to get to that next step, you're in a rotational program, things like that, you may be fine. And then they want retail experience. Usually our clients want industry experience. Sometimes that's a little, you can work with that a little bit, but most of the time they want industry experience. So 200 to 500 million in sales means that your company cannot be a $10 million company. You're not going to be up for this job with a small business being your only background. If it's something you've done before, that's okay, but if you're going up for this job, you have to have worked for a company that's 500 million in sales. Most times it needs to be a public corporation if you're going for a public job. So, and it doesn't say what type of role this person has to have been in, so this person could be with a larger company like Ford or something like that as maybe not a CFO, but somebody that kind of is a few steps down. So that's that could be an option, something like that. But they have to have SEC company experience. Okay, now I'm boring everyone else, so let me move on to the next thing. So the third page is a financial accounting manager with Ogletree DPS. I actually know someone that used to be an accounting manager there, so personality-wise, she's a pretty bubbly person, seemed easygoing, seemed very serious about her career, but seemed to have some good work-life balance, which I think is important. And they want 7 or more years of experience, so if you just now have a couple years, you're probably not going to be able to. This is a role that is actually out there right now in Greenville, so if you have 7 years of experience, you've already done some geo work, you could try to put in for it, but you do need a bachelor's degree in accounting, so that is something that you probably would have to have in order to get the role. Microsoft Office, so make sure that on your resume you have your Microsoft Office listed. Now this does not list out Excel and Access and Word and PowerPoint, but put all that out on your resume so they know what you've had exposure to. And this, it would be hard for them to recruit somebody in their industry in this area because of how large their firm is, and they probably would want somebody in a comparable size company, not necessarily the same industry. But pay attention to industry. Around here, I'll tell you this, manufacturing is the major industry around here. So, I mean, there are multiple other industries, but that's the major industry. So if you don't know, one thing is, I say when in doubt, public accounting will help you out. That's the way to start, just to kind of get your start. But if you aren't sure, you don't want to go into public accounting, you want to do industry, think manufacturing, because that's a good place to start in this area. You're going to have a lot more options, because manufacturing, they're strict on having that experience, and then they're strict, then, you know, if other companies are interested in you, they may consider you even if you have manufacturing, because that's the majority of what everybody has anyway right here. So, how far off did I get? So think about the credentials, think about the years of experience, and think about how you want to get to that dream job as you're assessing that. So I'm not telling you how to write your resume exactly with this, but I'm just having you think about, how do I get to that big job I want one day? So, okay, and if, with public accounting, if you do want to go that route, make sure that you start early. Think about your internships. Do that now. Don't put it off. You have the resources now while you're in school. You have the options out there. You have so many connections in school. So don't put off, say, oh, I'll do that later. Do it now. Get your internship now if you absolutely can. So, and you want to try to think about how to get that, because I think sometimes some firms require you to put in for it very early. Like, I don't know, summer interns you probably need to know in the fall, I guess. Fall and then spring, and then for your summer internship. Does that make sense what I'm saying? So start thinking about that. Even call firms, and if you have a specific firm in mind, find out what does it take to be an intern. If you're not already, you guys may know, I'm not sure how that works on campus, that they prepare you for getting into a public accounting firm. So if you, okay, looks like they don't.
We don't
okay.
have promise spots, no, we're not. Clemson, USC, and USC Upstate, and one other college in South Carolina has actual in